Hello and welcome, I am Arumba. Thank you for joining me. This is another Arumba's Assay, this time as the country of Aragon, submitted the other day by a gentleman whose name is Quick Rickia. He's going for the Consulate of the Sea achievement, which is, as Aragon, to control all centers of trade in the Mediterranean. It's currently about the year 1500, and he has some concerns because he has recently gotten himself into a rather dicey war. So I'll just read his little note that he submitted, and then we'll go through the assay, go through the assessment. In this campaign, he's playing as Aragon. He has found himself in the middle of what you might call a fairly rough situation. He found himself at war with a former junior partner, Castile, alongside both France and England. His allies are mainly medium-sized countries, Bohemia, Denmark, and the Pope, with little in the way of military ideas, while we face off against two countries that have significantly better morale than we could possibly hope to muster, and another that is likely going to dominate us on the seas. The numbers look pretty even, but in reality, my allies are weak and scattered, whereas Castile and France are strong and right on my doorstep. He imagines that anything less than a white peace could be a major setback in his eventual goal, as he thinks that Castile won't just demand independence. So, it sounds to me like the primary thing he wants help with is not actually like, how do I do this achievement or anything else. It's not even like major overarching game mechanics. It's just, how do I win this war? And not to hopefully sound too arrogant, but I think that I'm pretty damn good at assessing how to win wars against AI because I've played this game way too many hours. And I think that this is actually an easier war than he is imagining it's going to be. While it is true that the French and the English are quite powerful and their armies are centralized, as he mentioned, these guys are kind of all closer together than the scattered coalition force or whatever that we have on this side. I have a pretty straightforward approach, I think, to ending this war relatively quickly. We'll see if I'm correct that can be done. So, that being said, it is an assay, so I do want to go over some of the other things that I've noticed. So let's do those first, and then we'll just play the campaign out for a bit and see if we can get this piece done relatively quickly. So, I noticed at the very end of his post, he also mentioned that he has every single DLC. So, I was looking through his estates and noticed that he's at 41, 76, 77. This looks a lot like, to me, someone who's not used to the fact that you can go above 80% now. Ever since patch 1.26, you are allowed to take estates all the way up to 99.9% influence before a disaster can tick. So we're missing out on a few opportunities here, namely the fact that we have a lack of monarch points in a few categories. We are behind time on tech right now. As far as like a military assessment goes, we have a tech disadvantage between us and Castile and England. France is on tech 8. England and Castile are both on 9. Our entire side is on tech 8. So we are on 8. 8 for Napoli, 8 for the Papal State, 8 for Bohemia, 8 for Denmark, 8 for Sweden, and apparently one little guy, Norway, does have tech 9. So that is a concern. So we want to try to get our military points up so we can maybe catch up on tech, which we can do. And honestly, if you have to decide between 150 military points and the nobles being upset, I will always take the military points here. To the point where I would even consider going further. Like, if we granted them more land and got their influence all the way up to 100, we could get 200 military points. I would rather cope with them being pissed off for a while and get rid of the tech disparity, if possible. Right now, we are 2 years ahead of time. In 6 months, we'll only be 1 year ahead of time. We need 645 power right now. It'll be minus 60 in January, so like 585 power. We generate a fairly decent bit of military points, not much. This is something we're going to talk about. I guess we talk about it now since we're here. Just in general, I feel like, and this may just be a personal opinion, but based on my experience, I think if you have the economy, if you make 3 ducats a month, you should have 3 advisors. It is the cheapest, most cost-effective method in the entire game of converting money into monarch points. So even if we're going to end up going in a slight deficit, I would recommend we hire a level 1 guy here and a level 1 guy here. We make most of our money from taxes, a little bit from trade. We have half price level 2. We are ahead of time on admin tech though, but being ahead on admin points means you can do base tax development, which is great. So probably I wouldn't run a half price level 2, even though it's about the exact same efficacy as doing a level 1. I'll just go with level 1 just so you get that little bit of points coming in. We have a nice little war chest of 890 gold. Keep going on the list. So other clicks that we could do that would help us right now would be things like this. We should definitely grant admiralship so we can get our influence up, get that extra 5% trade efficiency. Even though we are not able to colonize right now, His ideas, by the way, were exploration into quality. I personally don't think quality is the best opener. If you're going to go military early, I'd probably go for defensive or offensive. Quality it's okay. The problem with quality is just that we have 3 ideas in here that are naval related, and naval tradition, naval ideas are just trash. They don't impact anything. They're useless. I wouldn't even, not even worth considering. But even still, this is only a 10-year interaction, so I'm going to do this to take their influence above 75. And the way that I think everyone knows that you get more monarch points for this, but also be aware that the same breakpoints exist for the ask for contribution button. So if you can get to 25, 50, 75, and 100% are the influence breakpoints for asking for a contribution. At 75 plus, we are at a sweet spot here where we can get a good amount of ducats without having any risk of the disaster. So I would take that click, and I'd probably also take the Diplo point click, honestly. I would rather have them be disloyal and just, have the points, personally. We could potentially knock out more ideas and actually fill in our national ideas a little bit quicker. Mercenary maintenance minus 15% is one of those ideas that's very misleading, though. Something you need to be aware of is that merc maintenance is 250% of normal maintenance. So you're not actually losing 15% of your total merc maintenance, you're losing 15% of 250%, which is like 6%. So it's kind of a trash idea, but just something to be aware of. So I'm going to do that. I guess for now I'm just going to do it. I'll play this out as if I were playing it out. And then I would probably just take the 150 rather than push them all the way up for 200. We could take this army tradition idea, but I'm not going to do that. I do think we should consider taking... That's not really going to impact anything. Yeah, no, it's not really going to impact anything. But he wants to colonize, so I guess we'll keep going on that set. We have a Naval Doctrine available. He said he has all DLC. I don't know why this isn't on, if that's the case. We're currently in a war where we're concerned about being able to beat enemy naval superiority. Long term, I think Merchant Navy is the best of the naval doctrines, but there's an argument here for galley combat ability or for chance to capture enemy ships. How many galleys do we have? We have 10 galleys against the enemy 32 galleys. No, that's our side, excuse me. We have 32 galleys, they have only 2 galleys. There are 15 heavies. France and England are probably not going to bring theirs in here, though, unless the French heavies are already in here. They're probably going to keep them out here. They don't want to bring them into the Mediterranean. So, as far as the Naval Doctrine goes, I would just probably take the trade power and forget about it long term, because I know I'll forget later on. But for the sake of this war, let's just do chance to capture enemy ships. Alright. I was looking at the actual war, and it looks like so far he's had one major battle against the French, and he lost over here. That was this army. It was forced to retreat. We're going to go ahead and immediately send it back. We have slightly too many units. We've got 16 units here. We have some infantry combat ability from the quality idea set, so I'm going to go ahead and consolidate out one of the cav. Actually, let's just consolidate those 3 cav down into 1. Then we'll bring this whole set over to our other units in the Baleares. Let's try to min-max a little bit here with our attrition. If we do this, we'll actually arrive on July 6th, which means we miss out on an attrition tick. Or, sorry, monthly reinforcement tick. So, can we go to... Let's go to Cagliari first. We'll stop off there for the June to July tick, get our recovery, and then we'll move over one more sea tile. Okay, talked about the tech disadvantage, we talked about the estates. Next up is the Curia Controller minigame. So, as a Catholic nation, you have to play this game. Like, you have to pay attention when the Pope dies, and when he does, you have to click this button one time. Otherwise, you have no chance of becoming the Curia Controller. We have 4 cardinals, 0% chance to become the Curia Controller. 5 papal influence at least gets us a chance, 8.3% chance, the next time the Pope dies, that we get to become the Curia Controller. Right now, Castile is the Curia Controller. And on top of that, we have 141 papal influence. We should be spending this. By far, I think the best one is levy church tax, 15% national tax modifier for 20 years. I'm going to turn that on. Second, and I'd say like tied for second, depending on your current situation, is the papal legate and the blessed ruler. Prestige gives us morale of armies, gives us institution embracement cost reduction, AE, improved relations. Like, there's so many good things about this. I would probably go with the Blessed Ruler and then call that good for now. Do not ever, please, we did this on the stream the other day. Holy War is so useless. It gives you, like, I mean, okay, manpower recovery only affects the manpower that you get from provinces, not the base. So you're talking about getting like 15% more of a multiplier on only 16,781. Not even, you know, it's just not, it's awful. It's really bad. Okay. Also, on top of that, because we're doing well with the Curia, the amount of papal influence you generate is modified by the Papal State's opinion of you up to plus 100%. So we're already allied to the Pope, which is great, but I notice there's no improved relations in here at all. You should pretty much always improve relations with the Pope if you are Catholic in order to get more papal influence. It'd be like someone playing the Protestant, a Protestant campaign and only generating half of their available points for the Protestant faith when they could generate the full amount of points, right? It's just a thing we're missing out on that we should be doing. And that's it for that. I would also consider that since we do have this little war chest, I actually have found that keeping the clergy above 60% can give some pretty good events, and that extra papal influence, while coupled with being allied to the Pope, it's worth having 2 more cardinals. Now we can generate 5 papal influence a year. It means once every 10 years we can do a click until they're all maxed out, and then we save up for stability and stuff. So we're going to improve with him. We're going to improve with Naples, who apparently he lost the Union over at one point, but he got it back. I did notice that Bohemia has no legal heir right now. There is a chance for our dynasty to get onto their throne. He's already 43. Right now, if we don't do anything, it's going to go to the Wilhelm von Hohenzollern, because that's the only royal marriage that he has. So we're going to do our royal marriage here. Let's play for a day. And now we should see that it's going to be someone for our dynasty, because we have higher development than that other guy. So let's not miss out on that. All right, next. Power projection. We're at 35 power projection. Our rival selection is kind of dicey. I don't see an easy way to even do anything against England outside of like just declaring a humiliate war. Same thing with Muscovy. I don't think you should just choose rivals based on what's available on the list. Like, if there was nothing else and the only option was to choose Muscovy, then maybe, but even still, like, it's so hard to get to war with somebody like that. And because of that, our power projection is really suffering. We did just recently eclipse Savoy. One thing we can do, though, let's come back from Napoli. We're going to play for a bit and try to get our ships over into position here. There are the 3 heavies. We did also get that admiral, so let's get him appointed. We're going to stop off here for the monthly tick for the repairs as well, unless we see an opportunity to kill one of these guys. Let's see. The ships are actually fully repaired for the most part. We could hop around to this way. Nah, let's just wait a tick. Alright, so we want our diplomats back. What you can do is you can, so long as you have no truce with one of your rivals, you can insult them for power projection, right? But a new thing you can do, since they added in scornful insults, is scornfully insult one person. This will also make Bohemia like us better. If you scornfully insult one and regular insult the other, you can actually get 15 power projection for a short period of time, taking us up to 50, getting us an extra monarch point per month. Beyond that, we will need to do something else to just try to stay above 50. Something like, oh, I don't know, issue embargoes, which I also noticed are sorely lacking. So we'll get that going in a second. Mighty Fortress of Ruslan is under siege. Now, we should be relatively safe. We're going to talk about more military assessment here in a moment, but I've just got a couple other things to talk about, and then we can actually just play it out for real. We did the personal union thing, advisors, personal opinion to higher level 1 points, level 1 advisors, state edicts. So, Aragon is in a very good defensive position. We're going to turn on the state edict in the Pyrenees, it's called the State of Aragon actually. Turn on defensiveness here, turn on defensiveness here. And these 2 forts project a zone of control that's actually going to completely isolate France from being able to get into Iberia. If he comes in this way, he has to go into Pyrenees Mountains. If he comes in this way, he's stuck on Ruslan. So long as these forts hold, and in fact, so long as the Pyrenees fort holds, France cannot walk down into Iberia. If he does somehow knock down the Ruslan fort, which is only hills, then he'll still get stuck either by going into Urgel or into Tarragona, and then he's got to go to the Pyrenees Mountain. Pyrenees Mountain is like just such a great fort. I love that fort. So yeah, I'm not too worried about the French army, and I'm not too worried about the English army because they are actually landing, or when I looked earlier, they were trying to land troops up in Denmark. So I am going to instead just try to employ a very straightforward strategy called blitz the war leader and win the war quickly. And we're going to do that, I guess, right now. Those are pretty much all the things that I wanted to talk about. Let's keep an eye on power projection, and let's play this out for a bit. So we're going to go to July, and then we're going to pick up our army again. There's an incoming battle. Looks like there's one Castilian heavy. Yeah, okay with doing that. He actually has... okay, so there's no battle because we have units on our boats. Let's just drop off the galleys. We'll go like this. And that way we can force the battle. So we can kill his heavy. We're going to go over to the Baleares. Keeping an eye on power projection. Let's go ahead and establish our embargo on England, just for the power projection. Now, out of the units that we actually have, the composition's pretty good. I did consolidate out to the cavalry for him, so he had 6 cav, which is not too many. Pretty light on cannons. We have a great economy for the most part. I think we could probably afford to do 2 more cannons. And I'm going to do that. Cannons at this stage of the game are completely trash. They're really bad for... they are very bad for actual damage, but they are very good for sieges. And sieges win wars. So we're going to train up 2 more. We want to take all 6 of our cannons. We're going to take all 4 of our cav. How many total transports did we have? 15. So this is a already too large army. The French are currently besieging Valencia. Oh, right. Back to the topic of state edicts. We have no edict in our capital state, where we have almost no maintenance at all. And this state has 2 relatively good provincial trade power modifier guys. I would almost always recommend you run at least something in this capital state due to how inexpensive it is. In this case, protect trade is just, it's too good to pass up. So here, let's do this. He's got a 17 units in the front row that are quite damaged right now. Let's actually send over the cav with pure infantry first, so that we engage properly. I'm going to just consolidate those ones down. Let's do that one more time then. Okay, so we have 18 that are at like peak combat efficiency at the moment. We only need... we'll send 2 less. Really, I want to make sure we just have like all of the infantry over there. We've got a 5-1, a 0-3, and a 2-1. Based on the age that we're in, infantry are about equal. Cavalry are obviously better in shock. The fact that we have primarily infantry and we have infantry combat ability means that I would probably use this 5-1 leader. So let's put him in charge, get him attached, and we're gonna... away we go. Now, we don't actually want to engage him straight up, if we can. If he's gonna sit there, then that would be fine. Let's stock up in Tarragona. If he tries to leave, then we will go and engage him. Chance to capture enemy ships just went up even more. Let's go try to pick up the rest of our units. These guys are heading into the western Mediterranean coast, just over here. Notice how the Castilian fleet's trying to hide. That is a great sign. 27th, and we're going to be there on the 21st. Let's definitely engage that. We're going to ignore that fort for now. We're going to just hold off here for a second. This is mostly Castilian transports, so this battle should go well. Pick up everybody else, head over to here. Now, one of the actual missions that's not completely god-awful is the Hunt Enemy Fleets one. That will do a pretty good job of tracking down enemy ships without us having to pay any attention to it. Probably could have trained the other cannon on the mainland here. But this fight is looking pretty good. So we got 22 in the front row versus his 17. This French stack is actually stuck behind our forts. So he can only retreat into Castilian territory, which is good for us. We're going to go smash this thing. And engaging the French first is actually the right way to go anyway, because he's the only one on Tech 8. So we have tech equivalency here, which is good for us. Hopefully we roll well and get this guy stack wiped. Would be great. Next, we're going to go on to Toledo. That chance to capture enemy ships is really kicking some butt here. Alright, and let's establish an embargo on Hungary and on Muscovy. Make sure that power projection stays above 50. Now, even though we're slightly behind on Miltech and we're falling behind in that way, and even though we have a military idea group here, this is a very important thing to know about independence wars for subjects. In his enthusiasm, the Castilian army has a modifier called wants independence plus 50. So long as he's earning his ticking war score, which comes from having his capital of Toledo, that plus 50 will be there. And it's actually worse than things like, I think coalition war is only 40 or something. I mean, it's one of the biggest modifiers to war enthusiasm there is. So in this case, I think it's well worth it to spend 49 military points to do a barrage and just try to knock this thing down a little bit quicker. We have a guy with a siege pip. Let's pick him up. We don't need to have a full siege here. We just have to have enough men to scare off the Castilian army. So let's do, these guys can go to La Mancha. We'll then also split that in half and have some go to here. We're going to pull the current leader off. Have him go to here. Actually, let's have him go this way and instead pull one of these guys off. La Mancha's the gold mine. He makes 2 ducats a month from that. 2.5 ducats, actually. So we want to occupy... prioritize provinces that have high development. So La Mancha is a gold mine. Slower development, but higher income. Madrid, Salamanca, Sevilla, Murcia. We want to try to get all of this stuff occupied as quick as we can. And the fleet is trying to repair now because it's captured so many ships. Just detach those ships and go back to hunting enemy fleets. Let's grab our siege leader. I'll risk the stab hit if he were to die. That's fine. Like we are going to engage the Castilian 4 light 10 transport army again, which is great. Get the next repair tick, and now we'll have this damaged fleet pick up that cannon, bring him over to Valencia. Let's send 2 units to Murcia. Let's send 2 units to Soria. Let's send 2 units this way. And beyond that, we can't get through. So we'll just kind of wait for there. 3 more ships captured. Gathered another light and another 2 transports. Good stuff. Let's send the whole fleet to Valencia to merge up with the damage stack and then do another detached damage. Click. Let's get that other cannon over there. We have 32 force limit. I'm going to build 2 more cannons. Take us up to 10. Something else I noticed that we could consider, and I could have mentioned this earlier, is that if we wanted to try to max out our force limit, I noticed that we have 3 provinces, actually 4 provinces that are relatively high on autonomy. This province has grain. It does have the estuary, or the harbor, so ideally you want the burghers to control it. But this province could provide up to 1.8 land force limit. So if we just grant that to the nobles, even though they're mad. I don't know why that click wasn't working. We can now have 1.8 land force limit, taking our force limit up to 34. And then over here, we've also got grain. It's a very high base tax province, but it should be assigned to someone, one or the other. I'm going to give Salerno to the clergy, and I'm going to give Napoli to them, and I'm going to give Cuenca to them as well. Salerno has a little bit of unrest. Loyal clergy, reduce unrest by 2, give more tax modifier, missionary strength, and I'm just going to raise autonomy here so we have no issues with rebels while we're in this war. So just with those little changes, now we have 35 force limit. We could go even higher on the on the cannon count, but I think 10 is a bit overkill, actually. So long as we're at war, just gonna keep on going over the naval force limit with every ship we capture. When we're done with the war, we'll sell them and make up any money that we lost. Unfortunately for Castile, he starts the game off without having zone of control in the north half of his country, so we can actually occupy all of this land and come down into this area. If we get access through Portugal, we could even occupy the back half of his country and get directly onto Sevilla. Do we have access from someone else? Not yet. We can also get onto Almeria. Beyond that, might as well do, I don't know, something like improve relations with other people. Just do improve relations with like threatening countries or countries that we have high other things with. Alright, so we should have +3 from cannons, +1 from the siege leader. We've got another cannon coming, taking us to 8 for another +1. Now we have a 7% chance. These extra 2 cannons will take us up another 1%. And again, these forts are holding, and just the fact that our entire army is in Aragon, in the Iberia area, has made it so that France doesn't even want to try to take these forts. We're about to force this navy out, so let's keep our fleet here. Even though we can't siege down Granada, we can apply occupied and besieged provinces there. Let's wait for the monthly tick. If you're not familiar with what occupied and besieged provinces mean, I'm talking about this. When you look at their enthusiasm, see how in there it says occupied and besieged provinces -7? As soon as we get an army onto Granada, and then we go to check, occupied and besieged provinces is now at 9. So if 100% of their forts are occupied, then they'll have -40 reasons to be in the war. He did get the the Burgundian inheritance, so there's a lot of extra forts up there, but every little bit we can get will help. This army, again, should not be able to march through, but he's going to, because he's a cheaty bastard AI. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. He should not be allowed to do that. Navarro is controlled by us. It's in his zone of control. There's a barrier there. I don't know how he's able to do that. It doesn't make any sense. I disapprove. Alright, whatever. Despite all that, I think we can still win this war. He should not be able to do that. His return province is here. I suppose maybe what's happening is that because his return province is here and he's allowed to go like 2 provinces away from the fort, he can actually path through or some nonsense, but this is one of those things where zone of control just is stupid and doesn't make sense. I think that I don't think I'm wrong. I think any player would expect that their army should be safe if you have a fort here and he's entering zone of control. But whatever. Whatever. Now we have Toledo. What's important now is that +50 wants independence is now gone. So he only has 35 enthusiasm. We have 6 war score. The Tiki war score is in our favor. Now we will get this army together and go fight the French army. Let's grab our 5-1, who should already be assigned somewhere. He's down here. He will arrive in Cordoba on the 17th. We are there on the 19th, so let's go to the 17th. Grab the... Did I read it wrong? Actually, been on the 19th. Okay, looks like we got to go with a different guy. We'll go with the Fearless leader. And because this is a very important war, he's down to 17 enthusiasm. We have 7 war score. I think it's possibly worth clicking again. But let's hold off for now, because it looks like we might actually have this war resolved very soon. Let's go ahead and occupy a few more provinces. Let's get that going. Well, if we can't have the Pyrenees zone of control protect us, we could just park an army in Navarra and pretend like it's a fort. A 10 stack of infantry and hold that line against almost anyone trying to come in, since it is still a mountain holding. Hey look, he's trying to trade more cannons. That's not smart. Not over here, at least. Might be worthwhile to ask for access through Portugal. So that we can get up into Salamanca from this side. I have to worry about going that way. Let's have this guy go into Sevilla. 9 war score with 15 enthusiasm. Got a natural wall breach on that fort with all those cannons. Got this guy up to Salamanca. Can't get onto these two. That general just died. 21%. Take it. No such luck. Split this army in half. Take Galicia and Leon. Take it. We've lost the siege of Kef. That's okay. So everything that they're doing over here is theoretically bad, but more importantly, the war leader has 15 enthusiasm and we have 12 war score, which means he is already 3 reasons away from white peace. So next up, we're just going to go here and here, get up into Vizcaya, Cantabria. Which also means we can cancel our access through this guy, stop paying those extra diplo points. We could go try to go down to here. If we wanted to min-max money, we could transfer this to somebody that we don't. One of our subjects, so we can stop paying for it. Get an army up into Navarra. Just make sure that we're safe. And we just need to now wait a little bit until the ticking war score is enough to offset his enthusiasm. Okay, so unfortunately they did just get another siege. Looks like the French are not super enthusiastic, though. Let's grab that army to there, and this army can come join them. Looks like the war will go on a little bit longer. I'll transfer this to our subject, Naples, so we don't have to pay for it. They do have a wall breach on our subject, the Pope. Looks like the Pope is possibly going to bow out soon, which would be good for us in a way, because we could probably get the peace deal. It'd be bad, though, because he'd probably annul the alliance with us, which would be unfortunate. Nice. 6311. I'll risk our heir rather than our ruler. Actually, it should just combine in the right guy. He's clearly superior. French enthusiasm is at pretty low. We have negative individual war score because of stuff here. They are actually looking to take down Napoli. Do the same thing we did earlier, turn on the defensiveness edict over here. Since there's no pressure here, we'll turn these two edicts off. At this point, I am hoping that the Pope just pieces out. That's the vast majority of Castilian war score. It'd be unfortunate. We're getting all raided everywhere because I'm not protecting hunting pirates. Let's just have the whole fleet hunt pirates in Genoa now. It's kind of a minor thing to pay attention to, I think, but... France did transfer control of Napoli, so he's going to keep that. This video is going on way longer than I expected. I thought we could just wrap this up in like 15-20 minutes, but hey, these assay videos, I think, are usually... they're usually a little bit longer, but they're also pretty exhaustive, so... that'll be alright. I think after we win this siege, we will double back and take down the Castilian stack, get recontrol of this. Looks like we're stuck doing this fight. We can take Miltech. I think taking Miltech is going to be more important than trying to do more military ideas. We're not going to upgrade our unit type right before combat. We're going to have to fight just long enough to retreat from this fight. Go to the 18th, and then we'll retreat to, like, Toledo. Chance this to Naples. There's a little sneaky tactic you can do here. This return province via zone of control, if you transfer it to a subject, it resets the timer. It's super cheesy, but it's a thing you can do if you don't want to lose control of provinces. Reestablish our blockade in, or not reestablish, but establish. Okay, looks like Bohemia just got knocked out, which is not good, but not bad. Sicilian army is gone, went across the strait. Of course, as soon as I stop protecting against the piracy, the damn Berber pirates start pirating again. Tlemcen, you know what? Tlemcen's gonna have to die soon. That's clearly what's gonna have to happen. England's down to 13 enthusiasm, and France is down to 10. It's quite possible that our subjects or allies are applying some pressure somewhere. Or it could just be due to battles and stuff. We have, like, no individual war score here. It's just English military strength. He appears to have been stack wiped recently. French also. That fort also fell. Pope is not transferring control of it though, so if he pieces out, we lose control of it. Let's grab the light ships and have them go hunt pirates in Genoa. They should be safe in here. Probably. Okay, the Pope is out. Papal State pays war reps, cedes land to France, and that's it. Alright, we didn't lose our alliance with them, and now we have more war score because most of their war score came from those occupations. They do have some war score occupying our subject over here, which is also quite unfortunate. They've occupied all of that area. But we have his capital. You know, we have the thing that actually matters. The ticking war score. So, despite him being on high enthusiasm because he suddenly wants independence again, it's not going to be enough. Apparently the high enthusiasm wants independence is not actually from having control of his capital. I guess it's just from having control, positive war score. Okay, that is 18 troops. If we have any individual war score here, France at 5. He's only 5 reasons away then, and we have individual war score with England at 0. You know what we might be able to do? This is kind of crazy, but let's just take our 7% chance here. I think we go try to blockade London for a month. That's a lot of English soldiers. English and French alike. Sure, our fleet's it's not ideal, but even though this is controlled by us, he can unblack flag himself. Half-price trade efficiency guy would be great. So all we're looking for now then is England's on 6 enthusiasm. France is on 8. So let's actually blockade in this sea tile. That blockade will give us a tiny bit of individual war score against these two and against that fort, which might push us to the point. French war score is at 8, enthusiasm's at 8. We're one reason away from the French piecing out. Just check to see if the monthly tick did anything there. 8 individual war score with French there. Let's just white piece him. By France. Which takes our individual war score now to 10. And the English are at 5 and 5. We now can split the navy and blockade London. We do need a little bit more. We're not quite high enough on sail speed here. Let's actually put the leader back here, which will do it. And it's a very temporary blockade on this sea tile should push out England. That one reason, unfortunately. Looks like we don't have enough sail speed to blockade London. Let's try blockading all London then. What's our individual war score at? Not quite enough still. Alright, well we don't need to do anything with London directly, or England directly. At this point, like, I think the primary goal is to just end the war. We could cede provinces, but he's a junior subject. So I would rather go for, like, war reps and money. Just make him bankrupt. Not bankrupt, but, like, take his money, take his war reps, and then that way Castile has to pay us. Like, he's not going to be able to field a large army, which keeps him loyal. And we can just turn right around and now pay off his debt to buy back his loyalty. If we want to. Now, enabling support loyalists and improving relations is actually probably going to be enough to get this guy back into a position where he's loyal. So, I tried to rush, right? It's a 42-minute video already, to piece him out. But as you can see, like, it was not that hard of a war. Not really. If you just focus on the war leader and, I guess this whole zone of control thing is just one of those, I should know it better by now, but it's Paradox zone of control, right? So, I do find it interesting how we still basically had naval superiority just by keeping our fleet together, and that wasn't even including the light ships, so... from here, just make sure he never becomes disloyal again. You know, like, protect trade here, and keep on hunting pirates here. Or we turn off defensiveness edicts and stuff. Get prosperity back. For now, we can lower army maintenance, you know, get our economy back to where it needs to be, and we're over the force limit by quite a bit, so we start selling ships. We can, as soon as this guy becomes friendly, once we get him loyal, let's just do this. We'll pay off his debt, whatever. Now that he's friendly, next month, we can turn right around and sell him the ships that we captured. If he wasn't so deeply in debt, oh my god, is he in debt? Yeah, we paid off as much as we could, but he's got even more debt. So... I just consider selling them to whoever else would buy them. Maybe the Pope, maybe, you know, somebody else. Who knows? But, I think that's going to do it for this assay. That's how I would handle that war. And from there, I mean, it's a strong run. I mean, this is a strong country. We're in third place great power. We've got 2 unions, Naples and Castile, good allies. Maybe we get lucky and someday we get a union over Bohemia. We'll see. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed this essay. I'll see you guys soon.